Hello everybody and welcome to, well, this is it. Spaced Out is now officially launched. So I'm anticipating that there's a lot of people here who have never played this game before, and that's totally fine. I'm gonna walk you through everything. So for those of you who are coming back, welcome back. Here's a little timestamp. You can skip ahead through all the boring stuff. For those of you who are just starting, let's get going, shall we? So we're gonna click on New Game up here, and when you do, you are greeted by this screen. It kind of, whoops, I just sort of skipped straight through that by accident. When you select one or the other, it will take you to the next screen. We're going to select No Sweat for now. I'm going to go back and choose Survival in just a second. And then you're presented with two options here, whether you want Classic or Spaced Out. Go for Spaced Out for now. It makes your starting asteroids smaller and more easily managed. Like, you can see what's going on a bit easier. It's a bit of a quicker playstyle, but don't worry about that. And then if you're really, really worried, you can come down here to Game Settings and bump all of these right down here to the lowest setting. That'll get you a feel for, like, the controls and how the game runs, with only having to worry about duplicants needing oxygen. But for now, we're going to come out. I'm going to go into Survival, and I'm going to choose Spaced Out as well, because obviously that's the game. Here we go. So, now we get to choose what asteroid we start on. I highly recommend starting on this one, or one of the ones that say ideal down here. So the first three asteroids just cycle through these three as your closest asteroids. When you get down further, you'll find that there are a bunch of other asteroids. Now, I'm going to choose to start on one of the harder asteroids because I'm much more familiar with it, but they do have these their traits, essentially. So each asteroid is comprised of a handful of biomes, and we'll have a look at them when we actually load the game up. But each biome can have a bunch of these traits. I'll leave a link in the description so you can have a flick through them, and I do believe they still, or most of them at the very least, match the original game's traits. But I'm going to actually come up here and choose one of, oh, that one's new, I think. One of these two, and I started on this one in my last playthrough, so I think I'm going to start on this one. That looks good for me. So we're starting on the Flipped Asteroid, which is much more difficult. So we'll see it when we get there, but essentially the world is flipped upside down. So normally when you start, most asteroids have a lava or magma core at the very bottom of the asteroid. This is flipped over. Alright, that's it. Let's boot up. Okay, so and I'm leaving. Oh, well, we'll talk about that in a sec. Alright, next you're presented with this. This is just a loading screen. We'll give it a second. This is going, I was going to say much quicker than usual, but we'll just fast forward through this. And hopefully my cat, who is dozing off, it is no joke. I woke up at 4:45 in the morning for this. But my cat usually wants to go out at around this time, and he's dozing off because it's a bit early for him. Alright, we're off. Now, you don't get to start playing immediately. You get to choose your duplicants first. Let's choose, oh well, the Future Home's a nice little name. So there's a bunch of different duplicants, and you can roll through them to see a bunch of different stats. You can do that for all three of them. I like to start off, if you click this little drop down arrow up here, you can choose what they're kind of good at. I like to start off with a digger, someone who can research, and someone who, I usually go for a supplier. But generally, it kind of doesn't matter. A builder can be helpful, someone who can cook, because we're going to be kind of pressed for food, at least for me. I might actually go with someone who can cook early on. But I also do recommend a supplier, because that increases their strength. A suit wearer increases their athletics. So, well, yeah, just some things to think about. But I'm going to go with someone who can cook, because I always struggle to find one of them early on in game. So now we're going to re-roll until we find stats that we like on them. This one's reasonably good, but I don't like his noodle arms. Let's just start on the left here with our digger, and we'll roll through them and see how things are going. So this, if you can start with a higher stat, that's really good. See, that just dropped down to 3 excavation, but he's got 5 creativity. That's pretty good. So nowadays in Spaced Out, this is if you've played the original Oxygen Not Included, duplicants can start with a skill already learned. And we'll talk about skills later, but this is pretty good. However, this negative trait is really bad. The ones that I try to avoid are Mouth Breather, Noodle Arms, and the one, there's a Decreased Athletics one, and there's a, well, I suppose we might bump into it as we go. Flatulent is okay, but kind of annoying. Increased Construction is really useful. We're going to hang on to this little guy for a little while. And let's have a quick talk about stress reactions and overjoyed reactions. So, stress reactions occur when your duplicants get too stressed out, obviously. So once they reach 100% stress, they will exhibit their stress reactions. However, some stress reactions have a bonus, let's say. For example, when they're destructive, they will not repair buildings when above 60% stress. We're still going to hang on to him. I don't tend to stress my duplicants out too much. I've only really done it, once or twice, Abe over here. Oh, that's new, this trait. That's pretty good, actually. But I really, really don't like noodle arms. -3 strength means they lose 120 kilograms of carrying capacity. They start with 200 kilos of carrying capacity. So, yeah, sorry. Narcoleptic's an okay one to deal with. Ultimately, it is only a time loss. I've never had a narcoleptic dupe fall asleep in a really bad spot yet. I say that now, but watch it happen. Plant murder is also an okay one, unless of course you're looking for someone who can farm. Starting with tier 1. Bottomless calories is also annoying, but you can plan for it. I mean, same with mouth breather, but I'm still not going to take it early on. That one's reasonably good, but I want a higher science stat. Also reasonably good. I don't like binge eaters as stress response. I'm actually going to flick through this a little bit, because I think they've now capped out this at 10. It used to go up to like 18, 19, 20, if you were lucky. But I want the science stat to be as high as possible, because if we look at science, it increases their skill leveling abilities. Let's see if I can find one with a 10. Noodle arms? Absolutely not. That might be tied to it. That would be interesting. See, anemic's a decreased athletics one. And they're pretty slow when they start out. Building impaired? I can handle that. And an ugly cry and a balloon artist. Okay, that's fine. And as for our cook, let's just roll through till we have... I just skipped past the one that had good husbandry. Maybe I don't want to cook. I probably actually want... We'll go with a rancher, because actually I really struggled to find good ranchers early on. And this is a good one, actually. 9 husbandry and can cook. Yeah, let's go with this. So we're starting off with... actually, I don't want Frankie. Sorry, I changed my mind. Be careful when you're rolling through these, by the way. Because you might skip over one that you really want. And you can't go back. Now, usually I do play with a handful of mods on, and we'll talk about them later as well, or probably next episode when I can get the game running, but I will... Alright, here we go. Finally made my pick. We've got Mima, we've got Nails here, and we've got Ruby. So, let's embark to the future home. Now, the very first thing you're going to do once the world loads up is... here we go. So you get this nice little alert. I'll let you guys read it for yourselves. And we're going to pause. Straight off the bat, there's a lot going on. Let's zoom out a little bit. So scroll wheel to zoom out. We have started right down the bottom here. And as you can see, there's a tiny bit going on. We have everything. So let's start at the top left. We get our cycle counter, and it tells you how old your colony is. You get to see how many duplicants you have. You get to see how stressed out they are, how many are sick, how much food you have. This is what version of the game you're on. And then you've got your pause, play, faster, and faster again. And as you can see, you can pause with space and speed the game up with tab. This one, hopefully you'll never need to press it, but it does that to the screen. Don't worry. Just don't click it unless everything is going wrong. This is Oxalite. It will give us oxygen to start off with. Thank goodness, oxygen is included. But we're going to start off doing a few little things here. Namely, we can't build anything down here, as you can see. There's also some tutorial videos. I do recommend watching them, if only to see the cute animations. So we're going to start doing a little bit of digging here. And, wait, some other things that you find up here. This is Duplicant's Vitals. I find this screen relatively useless, although I would have found it a lot more useful last game. This gets to show you what your duplicants are and aren't allowed to eat. I tend to turn these ones off. Not that it's an issue. This is their schedule. We'll talk about that in a second. Their priorities, we will also talk about that in a second. Their skills, we'll talk about that in a second as well. Research we can't access yet, and the star map. So this is our star map. Now, if you chose one of the easier asteroids, you will be starting in the center tile, which is that one. That one. You'll be starting right here in the center tile. I made a bad decision. I'm not starting in the center tile. This is your colony report. You get one every single cycle. It tells you all sorts of fun things, but I tend to not look at them. Database entries, I find this very useful. It saves me from having to go Google a lot of things. But let's get them digging a little bit. Now, if you go and watch anyone else play, they will all do the exact same thing. They run the game in nice little 4x4 grids, and that is so boring. So we're going to get them to dig out here, and we're going to stop them right there because no one can dig it up yet. And, in fact, we're going to leave that tile right there. Alright, so now that we've got some stuff built up here, we're going to do two very important things. Number one, we're going to build well, we're not going to build it right there, I suppose. We're going to build an outhouse, and we're going to build a wash basin. And then we are going to arrange for a well. I think putting it right there will be the good place. And then we can dig all that up. So we want to dig those two like that. And in fact, let's cancel digging those up because I want these three things done first. They can sleep on the ground for a couple of nights. That's no big deal. But they need a bathroom. Number one, they need a bathroom. One of the biggest things that you will find will happen to you quite frequently is they're gonna pee in the water supply. And ideally, you don't want that to happen. The worst thing that comes of it is you've got to clean up some polluted water. And if we click up here on the germ overlay, food poisoning. Yeah, food poisoning is the biggest thing. So we can deal with oxalate, oxygen for a little while, but, this is the most important, and we're going to set direction to left so that they are only, washing their hands when they run from right to left. Now, do we have some dirt? Let's have a look. Yes, we do right here. This is an awesome new tab, by the way. We have a thermonullifier. We'll talk about that later. We got Sweetles. Very nice. Alright, this is going to be nice and easy. We're going to expand out pretty quickly. This is a teleporter. We'll talk about that as well. Another teleporter. I shouldn't have clicked on that yet. But that's okay. Well, let's have a look at our destination anyway, because it's inviting us to. This will let you see the other starting asteroid. And that is this one over here. Oh, it's not the one I thought it'd be. And we can have a look at it. We can see the top of it up here. We have Drecos! Heck yeah. That's really good news, trust me. And lots of sand. Alright, let's go back home because they're still playing. Keep in mind, they're still playing over here. Let's just close that. Now, this polluted water here is from melted ice. And I will get them to mop it up. Uh-oh, there's too much there. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a ladder down here. And we're going to cancel that for a hot second because I don't want to mix the polluted water in with the rest of the water. And what we will do now, pause for a second. There are a lot of hotkeys. I am going to press the P hotkey, which is the priority one down here, and it brings up this nice overlay. And you can see everything has a number 5 on it. Duplicants range their priorities from 1 at the lowest to 9 at the highest. I'm putting these two on 9, because they always need to be managed. Hello, Cookie. You don't want to go outside yet, do you? My cat's come to hang out with me. Alright, so I'm going to get those two at a much higher priority, and I'm going to get them to build all this, and we can dig that one up. There we go. What I will also do is actually dig that down there. And as you can see, this is creeping out. I should have chose one that didn't have slime molds, to be honest. But that's okay. Now, duplicants can get stuck. They are very, 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 very stupid. But that's okay, because we love them anyway. There we go. Now Ruby's cleaning a bit of that up. I think we can dig that up there now. So I've left this here because if they're up here and they pee their pants, then it's not going to drip all the water into our water supply. There we go. Now we got it. Uh-oh. Now we've got it all under control. Alright, now that we've done all that, we can cancel that one. Now, the duplicants do not like being wet, and I don't blame them for that. Next step is going to be to build a bedroom, sorry. So we're going to continue our ladder, well, not up there, I suppose, because we can't dig through this granite yet. We need to wait for, I think it was Mima's, our digger. So we're actually going to wait on that. So instead, we're going to come over here to... We need metal. Never mind, we're going to dig that up after all. Now this is going to drop sand on their heads, but that's okay. And I'm going to press tab to speed them up a little bit, because we got time. Now there is some level of physics in the game. Mostly gravity, density, etc. And some blocks, as you can see there, are quote-unquote see-through, like ladders and the pitcher pump. Alright, now that we have that available... we want a research station, and I like to put it right next to the printing pod to start, because if we come to this overlay, there's light available. They're in pitch blackness right now. And this just enables them to work a little bit faster. Now, the other thing we're going to need, and I'm going to slow them back down, is power. So we'll put that there, a battery, and... uh-oh. Yep, we got enough. Like so. There we go. And we're also going to put the research station on a really high priority. So the first 2 research stations require resources to run. One requires water, the other requires dirt. Isn't that nice? Alright, that's that. Now we get to choose, and we're going to put this up at a really high priority. Now we get to choose what research we want to start off with. And keep in mind, the game is still playing back here, so I like to pause. At least until, you know, they're self-sufficient. And there's a lot going on. There's so much happening. The screen is so full. Why would they do that to us? I know, right? Alright, so I like to come up the top here, and start with meal preparation. As you get more comfortable with the game, you'll be able to figure out what you like to do. But meal preparation is generally a good one. Hello, Cookie. Yes, I'm ignoring you. Other good ones to go for are advanced research if you want to beeline some things. But we're going with meal preparation to start. And hopefully, Mima will... and I made a big mistake with making this a starting little bit here, but what can you do? It was where my water was. And there is more water up here. So we do get to start off with a bit of water, which is a very important research coming down the track. Now, I wonder, for those of us who are good at the game, what do we start with? Oh, all the... ooh. Oh. Alright. So we start with liquid sulfur, a cool steam vent, which is water, and 2 volcanoes, which I've never touched before. Okay, wait, there's an extra duplicant on this planet? There's 2 thermonullifiers. Okay. Mima, you better skill up real quick. You better skill up real quick. You can see their XP, by the way, here. So it's going to be a little while. Now, as I was saying, if you watch anyone else play, they tend to play on little 4x4 grids, and that's just so boring. So we're not going to do that. Now that we can research stuff, I'm going to go over to their priorities tab, and I'm also going to sort out their schedule. So, this is also a very overwhelming screen. The whole game is just overwhelming central, but that's fine. Yes, as I was saying, that's fine. Let's go top to bottom, add duplicants one by one, and we get to see who's on what planet. They have made this much easier. And then from left to right, here is all their skills. If you want, you can hover over them and see what each skill does, which is kind of handy when you later on you're like, why isn't my duplicant doing something? For now, I like to not let anyone do attacking, except whoever's really good at it. No one is allowed to doctor. No one's, no one's doing rocketry. No one is decorating. No one is allowed to research except for Nails, because Nails has that +10 science. No one is allowed to ranch. No one is allowed to farm except for you, because they're our animal husbandry person. And everyone's allowed to build. Now, Mima is really good at digging, so we want her to be digging. Because Nails is our researcher, I like to have our researcher doing life support and toggling as well, because they tend to be stuck in and around the base anyway. I just realized you guys have no music. Yeah, this game has a banging soundtrack. Sorry. For now, Ruby is our primary cook. And as for supplying and storing, we're going to leave them all like this for now, but when we get someone who can do that better, we'll come back to it. Now, scheduling. I like to run them on 4 schedules. Like this. And this is much easier than it used to be, but I would still love the ability to drag this out and make it bigger. Sort of like if you've played Dyson Sphere program. Now, you get to click these so you can edit these. And it'll come up with these little scheduling issues. Don't worry about it. Bedtime. Wait, downtime first. That one there. So I like to give them 3 downtime slots as default. And then I just offset them like this. You don't actually have to give them bath time, but I like to anyway. And then we get the 3 and then 3 there. Now, as you probably saw when we were flicking through duplicants at the start, some get bonuses for working when the little moon is here, and some get bonuses for working when the sun is here. None of our duplicants, they'll have a little icon next to their name, have that ability, or like have that, you know, trait. Ruby's asleep because it's her sleep time. I think actually Ruby is non-binary, yes, they are. Alright, we're gonna dig that up because it's in the way, and we can build a couple more ladders because this is where our ladder's gonna go. But for now, that's all good. Now, batteries, these are the basic batteries. They're pretty terrible. They not only store a tiny amount of energy, but they lose an awful amount of energy too. Next thing we really need to be doing is putting in a bedroom, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna come up this way to start with, just so we can get some exploring done. And we're gonna dig a nice, a channel up alongside it. And then we're gonna want some bedrooms, so we're gonna go furniture. Oh, that's something I forgot. You'll get that little beep 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 if you don't turn off up here on priority 1. See, it says alarm on. We're going to go options, shift alarms, and I'm actually going to rename all these real quick. You got to type in your name and then hit the enter key, otherwise it won't save. And 4. There we go. So let's speed them up just a tiny little bit. We're going to come back here to furniture. Cots, well, for now, their beds can be right there. And I'm setting up 4 cots, you'll notice, because we're going to have extra duplicants sooner rather than later. We can also turn off disable disinfect, because they're going to be washing their hands coming back past here anyway. Alright. Pretty good start. I'm disappointed by how close all this granite is. There we go. Now, this is why we choose someone who is really, really, really good at researching. It means all this early stuff goes nice and quickly. So now we have a ration box, so we can move this box here. We have planter boxes. We have algae and compost. Alright, let's choose... Well, I've told them to go straight on to the next research, so that's fine for now. And this one here requires dirt. After this, we're going to do the research for the more complicated, the purple research, which is this one right here, advanced research. And you'll see there's data analysis and material study. We'll get to them later, don't you guys worry about it. But we're going to do this one next. It's going to be quite useful. And we are also going to want pneumatic door right there. Give them a little headroom. I'm going to leave these 3 plants up here. And hopefully there's a 4th nearby. It looks like that's a no. It's a sleepweed, I guess. We want to try and keep as many original plants as possible. I just like having them around. But, uh-oh, we got a little buddy. This guy's going to go around. He sleeps during the day. But he's going to come around and eat all of our resources. But he'll give us coal in response, so that's nice, I guess. In fact, I just changed my mind. I do that a lot, don't you guys worry. This is normal. We're going to dig that up, and we're going to then dig into here, this way. Cot. I'm going to dig that lot up here. Now, I highly recommend making an effort to dig up these little bits here. The ones that have the little scratchy texture. See, that dropped a mealwood seed for us, which is quite good. That'll be an early food source. Oh, and the research is finished. Now that we've finished that research, it comes up with this little icon and it tells us that there's no research selected. Let's just quickly remove all these notifications because they drive me crazy. And now we get to come over here and select our next research. Alright, and we'll speed them up even again because we want to get them, you know, doing stuff. We want a door here, we want a door here, and then we want a tile there and there. What this will do is it will give us rooms. We don't have any rooms at the moment, but we do want a few little rooms. We want some barracks here for a start and a latrine. Now we have a latrine. See how that flashed blue? That gives them +1 morale, which doesn't matter so much now, but it'll matter later on, trust me. Alright, now that we're digging all this up, that's really good. We can leave this door open. And, yep, Ruby's going to come along and toggle that. Oh, sorry, Mima is. Ruby's our digger. And Nails are sleeping. So, they're going to have beds from now on. So, you'll notice here that they have... Once they get up... Well, let's just pop Nails in this bed. Oop, never mind. Mima and Ruby. Nice. And we got an achievement for that. At least 1 toilet and a bed for every duplicant. That's an easy first... Oh, and they've got nothing to do. Alright, well, that being said, let's continue our ladder on up here. Now, let's go back to our germ page. Slime lung. It used to be a big problem, like a real big old problem. It's not anymore, really. They get a little sick for a while, and then they're fine. So it's okay. Now, let me just make sure that we don't have any polluted ice. I've got to be careful when I dig in here, because I don't want this stuff here, which melts at -20, mind you. Polluted water has a lower freezing temperature than regular water, at, you know, 0 degrees, plus or minus. So let's dig those up. And we're going to get, yep, Mima coming up here. Now, be careful when you're digging. Sorry, I pause a lot as well. Different places have different stuff in it. Some are really obvious. Here's some water. Here's some carbon dioxide. This one's a vacuum, which isn't really a problem, but if we come up here to our oxygen overlay, our oxygen density is going to start becoming a problem. So as soon as we're done with this research, I'm actually going to go for the basic oxygen research. This one, air systems here. And I'm going to do another open base like we did last time, because only our supply teleporter outputs up here, and no one cares about that. That is sand. That's okay. I thought it might have been snow. We've gotten a few other things here. A water cooler, which is nice, but we'll come back to that. And a crafting station, which is also nice, and we will also come back to that. Alright, let's clear new. And I'm going to actually pin a few resources here. Coal will be one. Hatchling eggs will be another for now. Dirt will be a third. Sand will be a fourth. And copper ore will be a fifth. I'm skipping over oxygen production. I'm skipping over the oxygen diffuser here. Because I don't care right now. Actually, I probably should have one running. But... and in fact, I will put one up and running right here. Because we've got a bit of algae, let's actually pin it. But you will run out of that super quick if you're using it for oxygen. And the only way to get more is to grow a specific type of animal. In fact, I might go for toilets over oxygen first, because we're building this, so you guys can see it. Now we get the telescope, we get the skill scrubber and the supercomputer, as well as the mini pod, which is good for the next planet. But we can't get there yet, because there's this bunch of granite in the way, which is a problem, but what can you do? And we're shortly about to get another duplicant, so that's nice. Very nice, in fact. So, couple of things here. You do not have to take every single duplicant that comes your way. Don't worry about it. They won't be offended. Some people do it just for funsies. Really? We've gone outside the starting biome, have we? Was it that ladder? Was it this ladder? Whoop! Goodness me, they're getting through it super quick. We're going to dig that up, and in fact, we're going to keep coming up here. And what we're going to do in just a little bit is pop a tile right here. In fact, we can prepare for that. Pop a tile right here. Because they can get through this gap here. See? They boop, boop. So duplicants, let's have a quick talk about duplicant movement. They can get through as long as there's two tiles connected by a single tile like that. So they can get through that little S-shaped tetronomo. I'm going to dig that up. What else? They cannot get through one high gaps, and they can climb 2 tiles tall. That's it. That's how they can move. Here are some little bugs up here. We got to get up here super quickly, by the way. Because see how these guys are glum? It's because there's too many of them in a small space. And they won't reproduce. Oh, there's a third one. These are really good at making things cold. And in fact, that's right there. I wonder where our input is. I just had a really cool idea that I've never seen done before. In fact, I'm going to deconstruct those. And we're going to try and just corral our water a little bit better. They don't like being wet, by the way. See, sopping wet adds to their stress. Alright, we're up here. We cannot activate this yet. They need a field research skill. Oh, and a printable. I'm going to install a mod, hopefully it works, called Pause on Print. But for now, let's see what we've got. Fertilizer, rust. Typically, you are only given things that you have already discovered. So some, like, refined metals, stuff like that, you won't get until you've already got some. As for starting materials, they will occasionally give that to you. Right, let's see who we've got here. We have an Ashcan and an Abe. Ashcan can do some farming, can do some decorating, and can run a bit faster. But also can't do decorating. I'm not going to take Ashcan purely because they're a binge eater. But we're going to take Abe because athletics and excavation is great. Irritable bowel is kind of whatever, it's a time loss. So, welcome Abe. You get a bed. And we're going to check out your priorities. So you've got to remember to do this for every single duplicant that comes your way. Now, Abe is going to be supplying and storing a little bit more for us and doing a bit of building. And you can cook for now. Sounds good to me. And the schedule. We're going to pop Abe down here on the bottom schedule. Alright, they're off. So we can break out here, that's nice. But also that's granite, so we can't get through there yet. Ah, now. Newly printed duplicants start with a single skill point. And Abe gets hard digging because we need it. Like, right now. Yeah, I'd like to get, you know, expanding. Now, as for what we're going to do with our water, I think actually plopping it all down here is a really good idea. That'll just make it easier to manage. I'll be able to dig into this polluted ice without worrying too much about it. So that seems like a good idea. But what we're going to do before we do that, we're just about there. We're going to abandon this research. We're going to go for this research instead. I want those airflow tiles. Oh, and they love going to the... They have to go to the printing pod to choose a new skill unless there's no printing pod. And look, now he has a little hat. Isn't that nice? But I was about to dump all this water down here, wasn't I? That's 4 tall. Now, the other big thing, they can only reach 4 tiles above them. That's why people like making rooms 4 tiles tall. I don't care about that. I make things look pretty. We're going to put a ladder here. And we're going to dig, well, I suppose we don't even need that ladder because the sand is gravity affected. Now, this is going to dump a bunch of water. That's why I put the tile there. That's a problem, but we can deal with it. Be careful about where you dump water, by the way, because it will fall down. This should even out just a little bit, by the way. But now we can deconstruct this one. I was hoping to stop all this water coming up here, but they can just mop it up. And what I might actually do is just check the temperature out. Super cold is the answer. But trust me, that's not even that super cold yet. And we're going to get Abe digging this stuff up here. And hopefully soon we'll be able to mop it up, because they don't even like having wet feet. And Abe is going to do that tidying, actually, because I've told him to. If we look back up here at priorities... actually, no, I haven't. Tidying's the skill for this one. Alright, that's the ventilation. But really what I want is the airflow tiles, because they have a nice unique property of not submitting to pressure. I'm sure it'll become a problem later on, but tiles can break if they are overpressurized. You can go back and check my Bartor Let's Play, if you want to see what I mean by that. Now, animals for some reason don't need an atmosphere. Oh good, there's 5 plants down here, that's really, really good. We can also mop that one up. Very good. Now you'll see there's only a tiny amount of water up here, so that's why it isn't dripping down. And we're not producing enough oxygen. You've just got to get used to that one being there, because you could be producing tons of oxygen, and for some reason they won't be able to see it. We can get up to the Sweetles up here. Alright, there's a... Yep, that's over there. In fact... No, I'm not going to do that yet. Alright, you two are just chilling. You got nothing to do. Fair enough. Abe's having a snooze. Let's actually prepare another cot here. Because... You know, we've got to be able to see what's going on. I'm going to pop the priority on this up really high. Now, one of the first things we used to do was, actually move the ration box down. So, obviously, density's a thing. Carbon dioxide sinks and oxygen floats up above it. There are other gases, of course, but they don't matter right now. But yeah, carbon dioxide's heavier than oxygen. If we go back to our oxygen tab, you can see there's carbon dioxide here. And if we slow it down, see it's all pooling down at the bottom here, and it will slowly make its way down here. So one of the first things we used to do was dig a big old pit, fill it up with carbon dioxide, and then we would move our ration box down there, because carbon dioxide is what is known as a sterile atmosphere. And that would stop the food from spoiling. Ruby's got nothing to do. Nice. Let's find them something to do. I suppose we can start digging this out. I really do want to wait for the research to be done, and we're super close. So, Nails is our researcher. Alright, let's keep an eye on Abe up here. He's kind of cold. He'll get hypothermia if we're not careful, but again, it just slows them down a little bit. That's a cool looking little thing. And as you can see, we're finding a few more plants, and these are wheezeworts. They make things cold. There's a bunch more bugs up here. Alright, let's start freeing the bugs, maybe. Oh, there's our magma up at the top there. So as you can see, it's quite a small asteroid, and I've deinstalled all of my mods because the game crashed when I tried to start playing. But let's dig this open, and we're going to go this way for now. And we can give him a little walkway there, actually. I'm pressing the wrong button. Press B to copy whatever's down here. That can be a little problem. That's some polluted ice there. We're going to dig that up as well. Whenever you dig something up, see there's... oh well, it halves its mass. Just take my word for it. How are we going for food? We're going okay for now. Uh-oh. Of course you can't dig. Abe, we're going to move you off there, because we'd rather you not be doing stuff like that when you could be digging. And of course he's coming to do this first because, aha, nice, okay. Now that that's done, let's get them back on their sanitation. And we want to put, I'm just going to put a bunch of airflow tiles here on a relatively high priority, because I want less water when I'm digging this out. So we're just going to block all this water up in here for now. And then we can have a good old time. I'm going to dig that down there, and then we're going to dig just the top 4 for now. Now, they can't dig neutronium out. There used to be a bug, I don't know if it's been patched, where they could, and it would cause a stack overflow error, kinda. Alright, no research selected. Now that that's done, we can do oxygen. And I'm going to dig all this out. So we'll talk about oxygen production, I suppose, when we get to it, won't we? And we've got a sink. We have gas valves, that's nice. Showers, bathrooms, all the nice stuff, and mesh tiles, which are my favourite building block, but again, we will get back to it. We also need to submit a bioscan for this. I'm actually going to increase Abe's need to do this one. There we go. So airflow tiles stop pressure building up because gases settle in it. So this allows gas to pass through, which is very useful, trust me. Oh, I thought I just saw a Paku. I was like, that's odd. 5:41. Okay, we're at 50 minutes. Now we have no water for our sink. It's containing a fair bit of water right now, so we're okay. But we do want to do something about that in a little bit, so... we've also got all this water sitting around on the ground, so they can use that until... And in fact, I'm going to do this one as the last one for now, and then we're going to take a time out from researching, because that frees up the extra duplicant worth of labour. Sorry, I'm kind of bouncing all over the place, but that's sort of the nature of the game. Remember, this is a video, you can pause it if you want, or even go back if you miss something. But I do want to get all this water down here sooner rather than later. And in fact, we can then put our pitcher pump right here. In fact, we'll put it up a couple of tiles. That'll be okay. And that way we can... well... we'll come back to it. But once all this water's down here, plus this water over here, and this, you know, all this stuff up here. Oh, there's even more over here. I actually really wonder where... So there's a twin to this, which is the input. And there's somewhere, apparently, a frozen duplicant. Where you can also deconstruct this now, which means that we'll have to build, once it's done, just a second. Just a second. Pause. Let's look at Abe here. And let's show navigation. Abe can no longer get over here. The little white line shows where they can go. If you want to have a real fun time, choose a shine bug. They can go everywhere. Same with Pips. But now he can't reach this side, so we need to build a couple of extra little ladders there. Now that was the... Yes. Inspect Gravitas Ruins. So there is actually a bit of story to this game, but right now we don't care. We can have a look at it later. Actually, I'll leave it for you guys to look at on your own. So now that we've dug all this down here, I'm going to let him finish digging all this up, and then... and then we will get the water down here, because that'll be nice and fun. So, the next thing we're really going to have to work on is food. In fact, I'm going to leave that tile there. Now, as you can see, all of this oxygen is sucking its way down here. So just be mindful when you are expanding that it does open up your oxygen. Like it, you know, all the oxygen spreads. That is polluted oxygen. I wonder where that came from. The polluted dirt, perhaps? We can talk about that later. Actually, there should be some here. Okay, see, this here is polluted dirt. It comes from outhouses. There can be some in the world, especially if you started on one of the easier asteroids. It just produces polluted oxygen, is what it does. Now, the reason that water just showed up there is because there is polluted water here in a bottle, and as it off-gasses its polluted oxygen, it turns into regular water. At least I'm fairly sure that's what happened. That, or there was some ice, and it melted. Okay. Heck, we can even dig on a little further. And I'm going to dig that up there because we can use this for food. I just want to have a bit more of a look at the map and see what's going on. Alright. Abe will now hopefully prioritize this stuff down here. And then we can dump all that water on their heads. Aha! No research focus selected. Okay, we are now taking a timeout on researching. So what I want to do now is arrange oxygen for the long term. So I'm going to dig out all of this up here. I'm going to dig out all of this over to here. Yes, that'll do for now. In fact, we're even going to cancel that row just for the minute. Uh-oh, we're running out of food. I should actually really do something about that. Where are our plants? Right there, okay. 5 for now. That'll do. 6, 7, 8, 9. That'll do for now. And in fact, I'm going to increase the priority on that, because I want them done. Because if we run out of food, that's a problem. Now, as I said, we're leaving research for now. And we're about to pick up another duplicant. If you are playing for the first time, I recommend taking it a bit slower. You do not have to take this duplicant. Now, slime off-gasses polluted oxygen once it's been dug up. To stop it doing that, you put it underwater. And we now have these oxygen masks, which will be very useful going forward. And we're going to plant mealwood. And we can just copy those settings to there. Now that that's done, we can continue digging. How much water is that? A ton. Let's not dig that one up. There we go. Now we're growing some mealwood, which is nice. And Mima's just about done down here. She's holding her breath. Doing a good job. Now we found the corner here, which is nice. I might slowly force the water up over here. Alright, now that that's done, we can deconstruct this, and all of this will go down here. And in fact, we can build up tiles in the bottom just to force the water up and over the top. Now, we also do have better batteries, but we're about to have a big old bunch of space here, so that'll be nice. Yeah, it'll be nicer to have the space, and then we can do something about it, and then... Alright, let's copy those settings across to there. Alright, a few things happened all at once there. Ruby got a skill point. That was that little twinkly sparkly sound. And then we got a printing pod. So let's check out Ruby's skill first. Oh, and Nails has a skill too. We're going to go for advanced research. They're our researcher. As for Ruby, we're going to get into critter ranching, so obviously we need to go for farming first. And they can have a nice little farm hat. And now we get to wave hello to a new friend. Maybe not. So the other really bad trait is unconstructive. This is okay. This is okay. Actually, let's take Ren. Hello, Ren. Welcome. Welcome. Okay, this is going to be personally my last duplicant for a little while. I'm going to play this one at not my own personal traditional speed, but I will play it at a little bit more at my speed, rather than last game where I... Aha! Oh, no, we'll come back to that. Those will be the volcanoes. Yeah, a little bit closer to my speed. Let's slow him down again. Plonk. Now, Ren is an early bird. Gets morning bonuses. Let's check the schedule. That means we want to put Ren, see the little sunshine here? We're going to put Ren down on the second schedule. That's good enough. Alright, we're leaving that, and we can dig up now that and those, because we want to dump the water down this way. So I'm making a big old space up here, because the next thing that we're going to be producing, and I really do hope that that didn't just affect you guys as well, the next thing we're going to be doing is getting our oxygen set up for, like, the base. In fact, I am going to queue up a bit of research, and it's going to be that one, and as you can see, we're going to need a supercomputer. I want this insulated tile here, because if I click this button, it shows us how warm and cold everything is. This is kind of cold. I'm not actually going to... I don't know why that's on that, like, priority there. But the base is kind of cold, you know? Now, what you can do, until I install the bigger zoom out mod, is click Alt and S. And let's zoom out a little bit. So we can see how warm everything is. Warm and cool. So this greenish biome, which is our starting biome here, that is like the original starting biome. So chances are you started in a similar biome. Congratulations. This icy biome, obviously really cold. The deserty biome up here, yeah, it's kind of warm, as you'd expect. And yeah, the magma's super duper hot. That's 1520 degrees. So pretty toasty. Let's keep them going for now. We're going to get all that going. Alright, now that we've dug all this up, let's dig just a little bit more here. So we're going to be doing oxygen real quick. And electrolyzers here need water and power to run. And they turn water into oxygen and hydrogen. So this is going to be the last thing we do today because I've been going for an hour. Hydrogen is lighter than oxygen, so it rises up above everything. There are two ways to do oxygen systems. The first way is how everybody does it. Like, literally everyone does it this way. Well, just about. I've seen a few people who haven't. And that is to put your oxygen maker in a box and pump the oxygen out into the rest of your base. This does a few things for you. One, it makes it very easy to move the oxygen around. Second of all, the electrolyzer, let's have a look at this screen, because you're going to be seeing this screen a lot. Here's what it does. Converts water into oxygen and hydrogen. And it becomes idle when area reaches maximum pressure capacity. Now, if you've been keeping an eye on this down here, this has the same thing. Maximum capacity is 2,000 grams per tile. I think it's actually 1,800. But you'll, like, scroll over it and you'll see, like, oh, 1,500, why is it maxed out? It just has, okay? Just don't ask questions. What do you expect from this game? Consistency? Goodness me, go play Minecraft for that. Back to the electrolyzer. Then we get to see what the building needs. This needs 1 kilogram of water per second. That seems like a lot. It is not, trust me. It also needs 120 watts. Now, that is also not a lot of power. If we come over here to our power overlay, this needs 60 watts, this needs 120. So we're just going to replace this with, like for like. And even better, this only produces 500 grams of oxygen a second, whereas the electrolyzer breaks the water down into its constituent parts. So that is oxygen and hydrogen, and it's actually relatively close to like bimolar mass here. So we're going to get 888 grams per second of oxygen, which is enough for just shy of 9 duplicants, or, half that if they're all mouth breathers. It's also going to produce hydrogen, and it's going to produce a non-zero amount of heat. 1.25 kDTU is... Look, learn to play the game before you start worrying about the kDTU. I still don't 100% know how the mathematics works out, but I'll get there one day, I suppose. But it produces heat, and more importantly, lots of machines will overheat once they get too hot. So that's the first thing that an enclosed oxygen system helps manage, is heat production. Now, duplicants are really, really hardy. They will get burnt at, I think, over 50 degrees, or scalded, but for now that's fine. So we're going to build this up at the top here. Now, there are a few things that I will need to think about as I am making this, because this is our first machine, our first contraption. This is what the game's all about. So I'm actually not going to put it right up at the top here. I'm going to put it a few tiles down, and we're going to leave 5 up the top there. Now, because I'm the sort of player that likes to, make things look kind of funky, it's kind of hard to count things out because I'm a bit dumb sometimes. So we can have 1 there, a second one there, and a third one there. And we're going to build 2 for now. And we can put some airflow tiles under them. And then we can run a power wire up to them. And wires can run through buildings. And we're actually just going to run it straight down here, like that. And then we're going to need tiles there. We can put 1 there. That's all going to get dug out, that's fine. And then we're going to need plumbing. These need a liquid pipe. like so. Now, I highly recommend trying to hide pipes and wires in the ground. You'll see why later. But for now, we're just going to run this all the way down here, across to there. We're also going to plop in a little liquid pump there. Press C to get the cancel tool, X is deconstruct. You can hover over these here. I highly recommend learning the, shortcuts. We're also going to need power for the liquid pump. Like so. Very nice. Alright, now that that's all set up, I'm gonna finish there. Because, lots of stuff happens early on in the game, so let's leave them running. So thank you everyone for being here. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know. I am more than happy to answer. I want as many people as possible to be playing and loving this game, because it is a fantastic and highly rewarding game once you get your head around it. I will also link down in the description a bunch of stuff to other people who have done, here's how to start and play the game. A lot of it will be for early game, like for the original base game, but a lot of the stuff still applies, because fundamentally the game has not changed from the original game to the DLC. This is just an expansion pack, in the truest sense. So yeah, I hope you've all had fun, and I will catch you all in the next episode. For the first week or so, these are going to be daily. After that, I'm going to make these probably every other day, because goodness me, it's Christmas in a couple of weeks. And I am busy, and, I don't want to burn myself out. So yeah, I hope you've all had fun, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Bye.